Gang. Blouses.
All right, guys, what's up? How we doing? Welcome to the Week 12 recap. Week 13 is here, and we got some things to go over. We have a tie to discuss that is very important. We have a trade, another trade news, couple of them really, but one of them is worth talking about. And guys, first time in a long time, maybe all season. I'd have to go back and look at the records, but I believe that this is the first time this season we've had 0 changes in our power rankings from 1 to 10 throughout the league from the previous week into the current week. So that's great. It looks like it's still remaining competitive. Everybody's right there, and the top and the bottom are pretty much decided, I would say, unless there is something drastic that happens. The middle of the pack is the only thing that could really shake up. We have a few teams in within 1 win per week of each other. They're very, very close. So we are going to go take a look at the matchups here real quick and run it down, and then we'll get into the standings. We'll get into the Pascal Siakam trade to the Pacers, what that means for the Pacers, what that means for the rest of the Central Division, and we will dive right into it. Let's go. No more pussyfooting around, everybody. I'm going to save this one for last, even though it did show up first on my matchup rundown on the ESPN Fantasy scoreboard. So instead of going with this one first, I am going to talk about my own matchup here and see what we got going on. Here we go. All right, this was a good win for me. I needed to get off the schneid. I've lost 4 out of my last 5 up until this point, so it was good to see a nice, convincing victory. There were a couple things that I was kind of kicking myself over. I was close to a full sweep at one point, but Sunday rolled around and it was a different story. Randy got a couple categories on me at the end of the week. So I like what I had going on this week. It felt good to be back and win convincingly. Even though Randy is at the bottom of the league, he is a competitive team. He has Zion, Anthony Davis, and Giannis Antetokounmpo with De'Aaron Fox and some other shooters, Strus, to go along with that. So he's not a pushover. I think a lot of the matchups just don't really fare his way, or I guess swing his way from time to time. But I don't take anything away from that team. I think he drafted really well. I think that there's just a lot of weird things have been happening. I don't think he's a 3-9 team, and I say this because last year he was at one point, I believe, 1-9 and went all the way to the finals. So this is just something to keep an eye on because Randy can sneak into the playoffs. All these guys at the bottom of the league right now, from 7 to 10, they're all within a game of each other. So the punishment has not been decided yet. The first 6 seeds have not been decided yet. The first 3 are it's kind of a toss-up. First 4 really are sort of a toss-up. The middle of the pack is going to be tight as well, but the bottom is what I'm most concerned about because that could be right up to the buzzer in terms of finding out who is going to be getting shot in the ass with some paintballs. Bring your cup, gentlemen. Right now at the bottom we have Tingus Pingus, Randy Bobanders, everyone for sale, and Tyrese's pieces in no particular order. We'll get into that standings in a minute. But again, like I said, Randy's not a team that you want to sleep on or count out. I think he has a lot of room to grow here. He was only 12 points away and very close in field goal percentage. That would have brought this thing very, very tight. So I don't think that this was really as big of a blowout as it looked like. Certain categories might reflect that, but I don't think that we're looking at that right now. Yeah, but that was a good one for me. I am currently in the positive column in the win streak. I have 1 win in a row. That was good. I started 6-0, and then I ended up at 7-4. It was a rough week, a lot of injuries. I got some guys back. I found some waiver gems, and I've been able to kind of coast with that. So hopefully that carries into this week as well. I am playing Dunko Jason Waterfalls, who, spoiler alert, currently sitting number 1 still. So still sitting up there. Love it. That's great for him, but it is pissing me off that I can't fucking just end it. You know, I'm recording this on Thursday, so I've had a few days where it looked good for me in the beginning, looked bad for me, and then it looked good again. Now it's looking a little sketchy. So I'm hoping that things kind of shape up to swing my direction again this week. I hope. Fingers crossed. Next matchup was Fleeced and Feathered and Luka Doncic. This was, to me, very telling of how this league is going to suffer if you're not ready for war. I mean, Fleeced and Feathered is kicking the shit out of teams once again this week. He he had 9 wins per week, so yet again another clean sweep of the league if you matched him up against anyone else in the in the league. And he just doesn't look like he's backing down. I mean, he's 931 points, which that comes with a lot of turnovers because you have a lot of ball dominant guys on your team, but that doesn't really matter if you're putting up 117 threes, 232 rebounds, and almost 200 assists at 199. So holy shit, this was ridiculous, and doing all that on 48% shooting too, which is very impressive. Once again, over 85% from the free throw line. That's tough to beat. And Dom hung in there in rebounds. 196 is not a bad number for rebounds. It was actually close to the top in our league this year. He's better than half of the league. The turnover numbers were down. The assist numbers at 121. It's about average. His steals and blocks were down though from previous weeks. I have noticed that kind of trending in the downward direction, but I mean, winning a matchup by 73s is absolutely fucking ridiculous. No shade to Dom's team. I think he still has a good team, and I think that there are going to be problems down the line. He has Franz Wagner out right now. He's been hit with a couple of Luka injuries and LeBron rest days and things like that. Lauri Markkanen is I think he was a victim to one of the resting back-to-backs that we had last week in week 12. So. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Dom has a lot of guys that they choose to sit in certain situations and certain back-to-backs. So that's just something that is, kind of out of your control. You do what you need to with that, and you just kind of have to let it ride. So there's not really much else to say about that. However, I will say the thing that I'm taking away from this is that although Fleeced and Feathered and I have the same record at 8-4. I don't even think we are close in terms of how good our teams are. I mean, he would have beat the shit out of basically everybody. I mean, not basically, yes, factually, everybody in this league by a lot. I didn't go through the whole thing because once I get to 5 categories that you would have won, I just count it as a win. But I would venture to guess that most of these teams this week, if not all, he would have beat 7-2, some 8-1. Minimally, he might have gotten away with a 5-4 victory, but most convincing wins belong to him this year in terms of just across the board domination. And it's odd because there is a guy sitting above both of us in the standings, and that is this next guy who won the matchup this week. That is the one and only Long Neck Lifters, big beer guy. Now, he is going up against Jake, who is at, everyone for sale at the bottom of the league right now. It's still close. It's not over yet. 2-9-1 is not a death sentence. It's not a paintball punishment. Randy's sitting at 3-9. Tingus Pinga sitting at 3-8-1. And Tyrese's piece is also sitting at 3-8-1. So it's not done yet. The fat lady is not singing yet. It is it's very undecided at this point. We are well on our way to possibly one of the most competitive leagues that we have had in years past. So thank you guys for participating. Thank you for making it interesting and fun. I think at this point last year, we kind of had the last place locked up because 6 weeks in, I'm being generous, but about 6 weeks in, things started to get a little dicey for one thou who shalt not be named any moreth in this podcast because of the lack of discipline, lack of paying attention, and just kind of fucking with people's money, to be honest with you. So, anyway, that is neither here nor there. Long Neck Lifters, another convincing win. 64 threes to everyone for sales 35, 177 assists to his 90, and 672 to his 428 points. So this was relatively convincing. I wouldn't say this is the blowout of the week. I still think that's Fleeced in the previous matchup that we talked about, but Long Neck Lifters has a team that is very scary. 9-3, so technically right now has the most wins. Spoiler for what I'm going to get into in a minute, but he has the most wins right now with 9. This is a team that I don't think people understand how good they are. On paper, I saw this in the beginning and was very nervous about what they could become. I mean, I don't think anybody was prepared to say that well, maybe. It depends on who you're talking to. I know that there's a lot of people that did not have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in their top 3 MVP ladder in the beginning of this season. A lot of people said, hey, maybe he's a dark horse candidate for it, but as far as the top 3 in the MVP ladders go for basically the first 2 months of the season, it's always going to be some jumble of Giannis, Nikola Jokic, and Luka Doncic. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was not in that discussion. However, he is now. This kid is doing some crazy things for Oklahoma City that, quite frankly, making a Magic fan like me very envious, because they got their guy. They found their guy. And, we might have already, but any young team that wants to bring together a roster of guys that are not only going to be competitive but can be elite quickly, Oklahoma City is a model that you need to watch out for. And they always seem to find these guys that just compete their ass off, man. I mean, it's actually insane how well he has been playing. His season numbers right now, he is 31-6-6, and the Thunder are sitting, very, very close to the top of the power rankings every week, and they're leaping over teams that a lot of people had in their title discussions early on. And I get it. I know a while back I said, can we cool it with the Oklahoma City love? They haven't done anything yet. They have now. They have me convinced. All right. I was wanting people to cool off a little bit because, I thought that the spreads were a little bit too close for my liking for a team that had only played 7-8 games or whatever it was at that point in the season when I talked about it. But SGA is going to be a 30-point guy this year. Say what you want about his, I guess, his shot selection, the win percentage, the stuff down the stretch, whatever. I mean, you could pick apart anybody's game like that, but I'm telling you right now, this kid is going to be unbelievably, he will be the face of the league, I think, before some of the other guys that we are waiting on will. I'm convinced. I'm on the SGA train right now. Donovan Mitchell also putting up over 30 points a game. In the last 7 days, he's averaging 37 points a game. So on the season, 28.2, so about 30. But same rundown as SGA, essentially. Around 5.5 rebounds, 5.5 assists, same kind of thing. But his last 3 games, 45 points, 34 points, 31 points last night against Milwaukee, and only played 26 minutes. If anybody watched that game, that was, crazy. I think they were up 20-2 in the first 4 minutes of the game last night, which was wild. But it was, without Giannis, say what you want, but they still have a good team. They still have Dame, they still have Middleton, and they still have Brook Lopez, one of the top shot blockers in the league. So I don't think it should have been that bad, but it was pretty bad. And then another guy on Long Neck Lifters team that we haven't really spoken a lot about is Pascal Siakam. And we're going to get into that trade in a second, but that's definitely something that is going to change. I think his usage is going to probably go down. He's not going to have the ball in his hands as much, but I would venture to say that his catch and shoot threes are going to go up with Halliburton's assist numbers the way they are right now. I think still averaging over 12 assists a game. And his high percentage shots are going to go up because they're going to be focusing heavily on Halliburton. Whereas in Toronto, he was kind of the primary option a lot of the times in that offense when Lowry and DeRozan and Kawhi, and then later on OG and Fred VanVleet went away. So he essentially between him and Scotty Barnes, they were getting the majority of the touches. Now, with this being an elite team in Indiana and already having a pretty solid foundation of what they want to do and want to become, I think this is the perfect situation for him. And I truly think that Indiana, it could really frustrate some of the teams at the top of the Eastern Conference. Milwaukee, we know, being one of them. It's pretty wild what they're doing to them. They're putting the fear of God into Milwaukee. Yes, still averaging 12.5 assists a game. Pretty wild. All right, let's go through the rest of this quickly. I'm sorry, I'm rambling about the team, but all in all, congrats, Jack. Great win. Has the most total wins this year already, sitting at 9-3. Congratulations. Let's look at our next matchup, second to last. Smoking a bowl against Tyrese's Pieces. Tyrese's Pieces forgot to set his lineups a couple times this week. Tisk, tisk, tisk. But Sunday, I'll give you a pass because he was there rooting on the Bucks. Kicked the shit out of the Eagles. Thank God. Go Birds, dickhead. Yeah, how about that? I love it. That's a good win for the Bucks. But unfortunately, Tyrese's Pieces did not come out with the dub this week against Smoking a Bowl. So this was Brian had a good week again. He's got everybody back. Everybody's healthy. Over 200 rebounds and over over 170 or over 175. He was at 180 assists. And that's there's not really a lot else to say about this matchup. I mean, Tyrese's Pieces won by 1-3, was not really close in anything else other than steals. He was 2 steals away. So even with that, it is close. Even if he wins steals, that's still sitting at 4 and 5, and then you got to swing another one of those categories. So I don't think it was really that close. But again, if we set our lineups every day, it could be a different story. So that is that. Congrats, Brian. That's a solid win. That keeps Brian in Smoking a Bowl in fifth place at 7 and 5. He's a dangerous team. Victor Wembanyama and Darius Garland are out right now for him, but the big heavy hitters, Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, Paolo Banchero, they're all healthy and they're all playing very well. They're playing really good basketball. So don't forget about Miles Bridges, boo, and then also Duncan Robinson having a career year, and Emmanuel Quickley getting some new time with some fresh legs in Toronto, and he's playing well. I like what Toronto did. You can't let guys walk for free, which is what a lot of teams end up doing. But I think that from what they got out of OG and Malachi Flynn and Precious Achiuwa and Pascal Siakam, I think that they have some new exciting pieces that they are eager to build off of. So I think it's good. Toronto made some good moves in my opinion. I liked it. Would have liked to see Pascal go out west because it's just is a problem for us all the time. But that's neither here nor there. He's going to be an exciting player to watch in the playoffs on an elite team again. This is going to be a lot of fun. All right. We are going to go over our last matchup. Here we go. It is Tingus Pingus versus Don't Go Jason Waterfalls. And surprise, surprise, Don't Go Jason Waterfalls racked up yet another tie. He's sitting at 8-2-2 now, still technically in first place. Since ties are a half of a loss or a half of a win, he has 2 of those. So if you swing them into either, he'll be sitting at a tie with Jack in first place. Jeez. I'm not sure how the head-to-head is going to work if that remains tied, but technically they still have the same win percentage at 750. So let's take a look at the breakdown here. Tingus Pingus took field goal percentage by a considerable amount. At the end of the day, you're not gonna jump 3 or 4% unless you shoot 100% across the board on a Sunday. So that was there. Jason Waterfalls had the free throw percentage and the threes. That was the tie. Anthony Simons got a 3 in garbage time at the end of the game on Sunday. I mean, under a minute to go, I think it was, and I was watching on my phone on vacation this week, and I was just like, no, you gotta be kidding. That's gotta hurt. It's tough because to have a win like that, and then you get a garbage time 3 that does it. It's very disheartening. Tingus Pingus again had a good week on the boards, 238. That was top 3 in the league this week. Actually, top 1. He was up there, 238. It was the nice job. That was the top rebounds of the week. 153 assists. He got out stolen and out blocked. 37-29 and 23-21. So those 2 belong to Don't Go Jason Waterfalls. And Jason Waterfalls also keeping the turnovers down at 43. That was the the second least amount of turnovers. Everyone for Sale was the only one who was lower than him at 35. And what else do you want to say about this? I mean, one thing I can say about this lineup is, look, on the weekend games and holidays and those weird lineups, you got to pay attention to what time the games start. Jason Waterfalls, the manager of his team, texted me and he said, I'm an idiot. I can't fucking believe I forgot that the games start earlier today. I should have picked somebody up. And the only guy he had going Sunday was Kawhi Leonard. And that was the one who, I mean, if anybody's going to hold down the fort for you on a Sunday to hold on to a lead, that's the guy you want to do it. So it definitely wasn't, it didn't end up the way you wanted to, but it could have been a loss. So it's better. I still think this team is very dangerous. They're my favorite to surprisingly make a deep run based on the fact that we weren't really talking about Don't Go Jason Waterfalls as a contender. But being that he is the 1 seed, I think that some crazy shit can happen in the next few weeks, but let's wait a week. I don't want him to do crazy shit this week. This week is my week. I need to get back on the horse, dude. But neither here nor there. That's, it's irrelevant. The most important thing right now is that he's sitting at first place and probably will be for a couple of weeks if these matchups go the way I think they're going to go. Which, again, remember, do the opposite. So that's that. We're gonna jump in, just briefly touch on standings when I come back, and then I think that'll be it. There's not really much else to talk about. I mean, we kind of went over the Pascal trade a little bit, but let's see those standings, what they look like, and then we will be that'll be it for us. It'll be a short one. So here we go. Be right back. Okay, really quick. We're just gonna go 1 through 10. Go all the way down the standings. Don't Go Jason Waterfall sitting at 8-2-2. Long Neck Lifters at 9-3-0. Fleeced and Feathered 8-4. Curry on My Wayward Son at 8-4. Smoking a Bowl 7-5. Luka Doncic 6-5-1. That currently is our playoff picture. Now, we don't start the playoffs for 2 months. We have 8 weeks left until the playoffs begin. So, as of now, these 4 teams are out of the playoff picture, but not eliminated yet. They're only 3 games out of that. 2.5, I guess, if some ties happen, which these are the most ties we've had all year. Tyrese's Pieces at 3-8-1, along with Tingus Pingus 3-8-1, Randy Bobanders at 3-9, and Everyone for Sale at 2-9-1. Nobody's out. Nobody's out of this yet. Nobody's locked in. Nobody is eliminated, and no one is safe from the paintball punishment at the bottom 4. Everybody can still be a part of that. Now, I will say this officially as league commissioner. If there is a tie at the bottom, which there could be, if there is a tie at the bottom, both of you are going to compete, okay? So both will be left to nothing but their own devices and whatever clothes they want to wear against everybody else in the league, shooting them rapidly in the face, ass, and balls with paintballs. God, that's gotta hurt. You can wear a cup. I'm not gonna be a dickhead about it and just aim at your nuts, but it would be fun. I am the Draymond Green of paintballing, after all. I'm just going straight for the kiddies. Now, 7 through 10, again, very tight. This week is going to potentially shake things up. It can happen right now. The top 4 and the bottom 4 are real close. This is going to be a fun last 8 weeks, last couple of months. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited, too, to see how this whole thing shakes out. But that is basically it for the standings. I don't really have much else to say. I mean, it's going to be fun. I really don't know what else to say. It's I would make sure if you're at the bottom of that lineup right there, the bottom 4 from 7 to 10, check your lineups every day. You don't want to deal with the punishment just because you forgot to put a guy in your lineup that is coming back from an injury, or just forgot to pick up a guy on time, or vice versa, whatever. But right now, things are going to get interesting this season. We have this week. We have a lot of positional matchups that could potentially kind of separate the good from the bad, and also potentially shake up the 7 to 10 slots. So right now, I think the matchup of the week, just based on where we are in the standings and how close everything else is is myself and Don't Go Jason Waterfalls. Currently, I'm up 5-4. It is 4:05 p.m. on Thursday, January 18th. Hopefully, that will stay the same throughout the rest of the day. We have Tingus Pingus against Luka Doncic, which Luka Doncic is doing well right now. I think he's going to hold this lead, but anything can happen, man. Tingus Pingus is not a team you want to count out. That is a manager that will let you know about a bad loss as well. So don't do anything dumb. And right now, I don't want to break the no-hitter rule in baseball, but we got a no-hitter going on right here, a naked mile, if you will. Randy Bobanner's up 9-0 against everyone for sale. So we might have our first clean sweep. I don't know if we have it. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys that have been in the league for a little bit. I don't know if we had one last year or the year before, but I think at some point we have, but I can't remember exactly when or who it was. Another one close to a complete naked mile is Tyrese's Pieces against Fleeced and Feathered. I don't think this is an issue of Tyrese's Pieces setting his lineups. I think even if he did, this would be tough to overcome. But he is going to win turnovers unless something crazy happens. 17-43 right now. And then another big one, too. This could also potentially be a matchup of the week because of how close it is and because of where they are in the standings. Smoking a Bowl at 7-5 in fifth place against Long Neck Lifters at 9-3 in second. They are 2 games apart from each other. This could shrink the gap to 1 if Brian wins, or if Jack wins, it can separate them by 3 games. So it is something that Brian is going to be looking at, I know, because Dom sitting just underneath him at 6th place. If Brian loses this week, he will be sitting at 6th as well. I believe they'll be tied if he goes to 7-6, and then Luka Doncic goes to 7-5-1. Yeah. The ties are weird, dude. We should do a tiebreaker. I know that's my bad, but I kind of flubbed it, and we'll get it worked out. However, I appreciate you guys setting your lineups. I appreciate you guys paying attention to everything, making it fun, making it interesting, making it competitive. We didn't always have that, so thank you again. Can't say it enough. Week 13, my favorite week. Let's hope that some magical good juju happens to you as well. And I'm rooting for all of you except for one, the guy I'm playing. I can't root for the guy I'm playing against, but I'm rooting for the rest of you guys. So I'm rooting for 8 other teams. Hope everybody wins and has a fun time. But I think that's it. I am going to head out of here. I'm still on a Magic hiatus. I'm not watching them for a little bit because my blood pressure is going fucking insane. Thank God I didn't last night because they just lost to the Hawks again in a nail biter, and DeJounte Murray can eat a bag of dicks. Fuck you. I still don't forget about the Pro-Am. Goodbye, and we will see you next time.
Gang. Blouses.